It is Tuesday, October 20th. Welcome back to Damon Bruce Plus. It is awesome to have you here. Thank you for coming on by again today. Another injury? Like, really? 49ers, we're just going to push this every single week. There's going to be a new guy who leaves the field of play with no talk or really discussion of injury. And then on Monday, we find out, well, there's an injury that could cost another player several weeks. And what do you know? Here we are again, huffing and puffing about another injury, this one for Bryce Huff. And it really is like, how much more would you like to stack on the 49ers? Like, at some point, I really think that the pendulum of the way the football gods officially go about dealing with football teams is going to swing back to this team just a little bit here. I actually had the hubris to think that they had just played a major injury-free game. I mean, everybody needs the hot tub. Everybody needs a cold compress. Everybody needs 2 aspirins and a nap after a football game. That is hard work. You don't come out of it 100%, not ever. But the amount of guys who come out of it wearing 49ers uniforms who are like, at 10% the following day and cannot play the next week. It's just, here we are. So the best thing you can say about the Bryce Huff injury is that they hope he's back in 2 weeks. What's scary here is that hamstrings tend to linger like, a fart on a crowded BART train. This could be something that restricts him from being who you want him to be the rest of the year. And I certainly hope it's not. I mean, this team deserves a shot to take its shot. That's the thing. Like, they got a shot in them. They got a punch to throw at the NFL. Even with the Warner and Bosa injuries, they got a punch to throw at the NFL. In a wide open NFL, something could possibly still happen here. But, come on, man. He felt the pull on the last 2 plays. That's when he started feeling the discomfort. So right at the end of the game, right at the end of Sunday Night Football against the Falcons is when he hurt himself. And I got to tell you, that just sucks because right at the end is when I thought, like, oh, here it is. It's all coming together. These are obvious passing downs. Robert Saleh is just rushing 4. But he's creating pressure with the 4 that he's rushing. And then you add in a Chase Lucas well-timed blitz every now and then. And you know what? This pocket is getting pushed. Pressure is being felt. First time in a couple weeks. The end of that game in a pure passing situation is when I thought the 49ers pass rush looked the best. So it sucks that in that looking the best moment, Bryce Huff pulls his hamstring and is now gone for, like they said, at least 2 weeks. So no Bosa, no Huff. Yetur Gross-Matos probably re-injured something else in the middle of this sentence. So you could be down 3 defensive ends going into Houston. The good news is, did you see how bad Houston's offensive line was last night up in Seattle? Oh, my God. Like, compared to Houston's offensive line, the 49ers are playing behind like the John Riggins, hog mollies of Redskins lore. I mean, we're looking at nothing but future Hall of Famers from tackle to tackle when you're looking at the 49ers offensive line compared to the Houston Texans offensive line. Every single play last night that CJ Stroud was asked to throw the ball, he was throwing it off his back foot. He was in constant retreat. Seattle's got a really good defensive line, period. I don't think Houston is going to look that helpless against such a diminished 49ers offensive line. But this is the offensive line you want to be playing against in football if you're down 3 defensive ends with rookies playing everywhere. I like the Niners' chances going to Houston. I really do. Who's playing wide receiver? I really don't care, but I heard it's going to be better this week than last week. Who's playing tight end? Well, as long as George Kittle's out there opening up running game, I really don't care. Who's your quarterback? That appears not to matter either. So, just keep going. Every single week, there is but one mission for the San Francisco 49ers. Stay on that lead lap. I'm not saying you're the one seed. I'm not saying you're the best team in the NFC West. But if you are on the lead lap, and by the way, there are 5 teams in the NFC West three teams who are all 5-2. The NFC West looks like the best division in football from a win-loss standpoint. But I don't even know how to even value wins and losses because it feels like certain teams are an absolute coin flip every single game, every single week, and other teams like the Niners, who you want to say just keep on checking that coin flip category, just continue to outplay my low expectations for them under the circumstances. If there actually is a tangible, real concept of this team getting healthier, I know at this point it seems absurd to think that that would ever happen. But if it does, I'm telling you, it's really important for this football team to stay on the lead lap. Because who knows what kind of race car you're going to have at the end of the race in comparison to everybody else's race car. 2 Monday Night Football games last night, and in one of them, Mike Evans broke his clavicle. So whatever you thought the Tampa Bay Buccaneers might do, sort of feels like they do a little less. Now, I know Mike Evans is, kind of often hurt, yet he is always putting up 1,000 yards. And I can tell you, Mike Evans could miss the next 10 games. And if he comes back for a playoff game, that's a dangerous player. That affects what you're trying to do against Tampa completely. Well, Mike Evans might be gone for the entire year now. Mike Evans is a big subtraction for the Buccaneers. How will they handle their first big subtraction, followed by what? Another is going to happen at some point? Then the Niners have been watching players be subtracted from them like 1 or 2 a week, every week since training camp started. And they keep on playing like the San Francisco 49ers. It really is a testament to what Robert Saleh and Kyle Shanahan have done here as coaches. It truly is. Welcome to Damon Bruce Plus. I hope you have already leaned in and tapped that thumbs up like button, if you would please. Now, to ask you to hit the subscribe button, that might be a bridge too far. We're not going to go that far today, but we are now over 48,000. We're on our way to 49, and we'd like to get to 50 by the bye week. So if you're a new person in here, tap that sub button, if you would please. But just by hitting that like button, today's video will be pushed across that algorithm even better than if you don't. When it comes to saying thank you, we've always got to say thanks to that guy right there, Mr. Ike of Ike Sandwiches. I'm telling you, I don't know what you're doing for lunch today. I don't know what your office is thinking about for lunch. Maybe you're in charge of thinking about lunch for your office. Check out Ike's Catering. This isn't just Ike for your belly. This is Ike for everybody's belly. Oh, you're going to have an office full of happy bellies if you order Ike's Catering. What you do is you talk to your office manager, say, I want to do this, and you put it on all your Love Rewards account. That's what you do. Start earning your way towards free sandwiches, free drinks, free chips with each and every purchase. And I certainly hope there is an Ike's opening near you soon. I would hope that there is a Dubliner West Portal opening near you, but they ain't opening more Dubliner West Portals. There is only one, and it's on West Portal here in San Francisco. Kenny and John treat us like kings when we walk in there. We thank them very, very much for supporting the channel. We just had a great Plus Mania over there. Go get the best Guinness in San Francisco. Where are you watching the Warriors season tip-off tonight? Head on over to the Dubliner. Where are you going to be watching? Game 1 of the World Series. We'll talk about that in just a second. Check out the Dubliner. Now, when it comes to making plays on all these big games, Warriors games, World Series games, college football games, NFL games, man, woman, and child. Well, maybe not child. You got to check out Sleeper. You get a $100 deposit match up to $100 when you use the promo code Damon. Do that over at Sleeper right now, and you are going to find yourself the world's fastest growing fantasy site for long season, long games, fantasy leagues, for individual matchups, for player props. You're not going to find a better user interface anywhere than on Sleeper. It really is fantastic. Now you're saying, Damon, I'm interested, but what I don't want to do is deposit $100 until I check it out. Okay, cool. Here's $20. No deposit required. Go have a little fun on Sleeper. Tell them Damon sent you. Use promo code Damon again if you really want to get in there and sign up with a $100 deposit match on your first deposit. But here you go. No deposit even needed and a free $20 ticket for you to take to Sleeper. Find out why. It's an awful lot of fun. And do so responsibly, of course. Of course. It is awesome having you here again today. Thank you so much. Again, Houston coming up next for the 49ers. That's about as good as a piece of news you're going to find on the schedule, given the fact they're, without Bryce Huff for the next couple of weeks. Texans looked awful last night. And, when you have one of the best defenses in all of football getting zero support from an offense, just being put in bad positions, bad field positions, not getting the rest in a game that any defense needs because it's just another 3 and out or 2 series and out for an offense that isn't putting up points. It's a good way to just wear on you. And again, with the 49ers running game, finding some life to it, and Matt Hennessy plays again this Sunday. We're seeing Hennessy as Brendel also has a hamstring injury that will cost him possibly as much time as Bryce Huff here. So more reps for Hennessy. I like that. I like that an awful lot, and I think you should too. I think Christian McCaffrey does too. Joseph Ernberg, always good to see you, Joseph. Win or lose this season has been crazy impressive. It has been. It has been. Every single thing we know about football equals the Niners should be in a little bit of trouble right here. They're on the conference's lead victory lap right now. That's good. It's a good place to be. We've got Lander Film 2150 says Bob and Kyle have coached these Sandlot kids to 5-2. I don't ever think I've seen its equal. Larry shit on the history of the 49ers drafts. What do you think? Well, I'll tell you, there's a lot of draft history there to be completely unimpressed with. But this year's draft class, those who have been allowed to play have been impressive. There's still a handful of guys we don't know anything about. I would say that with a better general manager, the 49ers will have done more than what they've got with John Lynch. And I'm not saying John Lynch is bad at it. Here's the thing. Here's what we learn. And I think this is important. It really, truly is a next man up sport. And the difference between a starter and a bench player, isn't some huge chasm and gap that should change the equation greatly. This is why I am constantly advocating for growing NFL rosters, game day rosters, overall player retained rosters, practice rosters. Allow football teams to carry 8 to 10 more football players to get through the season with the element of consistency still being available as injuries occur. It's an injury sport. They're going to occur all the time. Make it easier on coaching staffs to have consistency. That makes it easier on the players to perform. The better players, the better the player performance, the more people watch. The more people watch, the better the ratings are. The ratings, the better they are, the more money everybody makes. So don't tell me that they don't want to spend a little bit more money on growing rosters when grown rosters equal better football equals better ratings are the lifeblood of the entire league. It doesn't, how about this? There's no argument against growing rosters other than, well, tradition has always said, it's a 53-man roster on game day. Tradition does not matter to football anymore. Tradition's not even invited to the family photograph anymore. We've thrown tradition out the window in all forms of football, college football, the NFL. Have you seen the new kickoffs? Does that look like a traditional kickoff to you? Messing with things in the name of this gets better, this gets safer, this is a better product is what sports do all the time. There's no reason to not make football a better product by giving coaches more players, more time to spend on rosters. It just makes sense. And look, I'm glad people are starting to catch on. What I've been selling since, I don't know, like 2 weeks ago. And that first month of football, it's hard to really gauge where anybody is. You know, in the first month of football, it looked like the Kansas City Chiefs would be in a little bit of trouble. I don't think the Kansas City Chiefs are nearly in as much trouble today as after we watched them start 0-2, right? So that first month of football just delivers weird, hard to interpret or make sense of results. Then you get a couple games into the month of October and like the reality of the league starts to take shape. I've been pretty lucky. I think you have been too, hopefully. Now, even though for some of you in your lifetime, you said, hey, man, I've been waiting a lifetime for the Niners to win a Super Bowl. I haven't seen a great 49er team yet. That's true. What you did see, though, was a great Chiefs team. What you did see in your life was a great Patriots team. You've seen it. Do you see greatness in the league this year? I don't. I think I know what football greatness looks like, feels like, sounds like. You can hear it coming. You can see it coming. Nothing in this league approaches greatness. Which brings me back to my point. A pretty good football team will be your Super Bowl champion this year. Now, let's say it's the Chiefs again, right? Well, then the argument could be made, well, they're better than pretty good. You know, this is they've officially risen back to who they are. They've reformed their identity as champion. You know, this is the dynasty continuing. And at which point, we can reevaluate that whole thing. It's wide open. I've never seen a league more wide open than this. I've never seen the NFL have a single team, not have a single team that absolutely made me think like there's no way. That is the best team in football right now. Any given Sunday, somebody might be able to beat them, but most would not. The juggernaut is not here. There is no juggernaut. None. Wide open. Joe Sullivan with the super saying the league wide open. Sky truly is the limit. Anyone can beat anybody this year. It's going to make the playoffs very exciting. Go Niners. Love you, Pluse. Love you, Joe. Thank you for taking care of the Ganja Jar. This is Joseph again saying, what is the root issue with the Raiders? The owner? Well, I don't think it's unfair to say that Mark Davis has been bad for the product. Even though Mark Davis made the product more valuable than ever before with the relocation to Las Vegas, that would have happened with anyone at the helm. Right? So I don't think Mark gets a lot of credit for that. He had the balls to pull the trigger. I'll give him that. Broke a lot of hearts in Oakland, but you see that the world that the Raiders live in Las Vegas now, it isn't healthy for them winning because they'll never have home field advantage in a single football game they play at home really ever again. That is a tourist trap now. But I understand why they did it. And I'd like to congratulate Mark Davis on, a successful relocation. However, his football mind is junk. His football mind is garbage. Any plan that he comes up with, you're going to need a new plan within 8 months. It doesn't work. It worked better when his dad was in charge, and then his dad was losing grip on just reality, heading to Old Manville, and, Al lost his fastball. Mark never was able to pitch in the first place. Al had a fastball, he lost it. Mark ain't a pitcher. Mark was never groomed to be the owner of the Raiders. He is really not qualified to be the owner of a football team. He is a man baby. He doesn't know how to walk into a room and command respect, but for the tracksuit and the bottom line. That's the thing. This is going to sound cruel, but I don't think it's an inappropriate evaluation. If Mark Davis had been born in a trailer in Arkansas, he's living in a trailer in Arkansas today, he was going to find whatever level he started at, right? This is not a forward-thinking, genius-level guy at all. His dad didn't even groom him to take over the team. So when he took over the team, the Raiders' winning credibility, their competitive credibility, has bottomed out and yet to return. He made one decent decision in bringing back John Gruden, didn't have the balls to stay with that conviction, and they are just as lost in the woods as they have ever been. John Gruden is the only decent thing that has happened to the Raiders twice in the last 30 years. You know what? One Jack Del Rio year, Derek Carr breaks his ankle and shit. Like Mark Davis is a bad owner, full stop. There's no way to make an argument he's a good owner. That argument is unavailable to anyone who would even want to make it. Joe, this is the content I signed up for. Mark Davis can't get credit for being broke. He didn't have the money to put up when he needed to build that new stadium. No, he had to use other people's money. But here's the thing. He did it, right? He did it. He needed Sheldon Adelson's umbrella to jump underneath. He did it. He got it done, though, and he did what he needed to do for his own survival. But there's no doubt in my mind that the Raiders will absolutely be instantly on a better track the minute Mark Davis becomes uninvolved. He's full of nothing but ideas that go absolutely nowhere as fast as possible. You know, how many bites of the apple should somebody be given before somebody says, you know, maybe applesauce is more for you, spoonfuls, because actually eating an apple seems to be a little bit too difficult of a chore for you, sweetheart. Maybe applesauce, maybe not even spoonfuls of applesauce. We can run upstairs and get you one of those pouches that my 6-year-old, my 4-year-old really like. You know, it's applesauce in a pouch. You just suck it out of the pouch. It's like, you know, it's like how the astronauts eat. Maybe that's more Mark Davis's speed. The apple seems to have eluded him. For once, though, I got to tell you, for once, Mark Davis's idea actually sounded halfway decent to me, though. Like, I thought Pete Carroll and Geno Smith weren't about to turn this back into a winning franchise, but they were going to offer an air of credibility to the Raiders that they desperately needed. That is not, again, today, October 21st, is the right day to fire Pete Carroll. Waiting any longer is just playing out the string that clearly isn't working or going to work. Again, the Raiders are 7 weeks into a full-on rebuild, and they need a full-on rebuild. By the way, one of my arguments that, you know, the WNBA is just like, that can't be that hard to win is that Mark Davis's team keeps winning championships. Mark Davis can win in the WNBA, can't even compete for a first down in the NFL. Shows you how much harder it is to exist in one league than the other. Again, Joseph has been an incredible member here for over a year. Even Tom Brady cheating the media can't save them with Mark in the way. Somebody says, what we got here? Damon, a little pixelated today? Am I a little pixelated? God damn it. You know, this camera, I don't know why it happens. It'll be great. 2-3 days, shows in a row, and then all of a sudden we get a pixelation sensation. I hate that shit. I'm sorry. I apologize. Although maybe a blurrier version of me is the most consumable version of me. You know, you look good when you're blurry. Raiders have been rebuilding since the Clinton administration. Kevin, yeah, it's been a long freaking time. So November 4th, deadline is here. I don't think, look at it this way. A smart owner would absolutely take 2 first-round picks for Max Crosby right now, even if it came from the 49ers. I'm not saying the 49ers should offer 2 first-round picks for Max Crosby, but would they actually draft a player better than that? No. But we know that Mark Davis won't do smart business in the name of personal spite. And that means you're unqualified to be the owner. You're an emotional child. You make the best decision you can for your team's future. Mark Davis is incapable of positioning his team well for the present, the future, and that's why the only thing the Raiders sell to you is past memories. Joseph Ernberg. Raiders flew across the country to get 3 first downs. Well, they didn't have to go all the way across the country. They just went to Kansas City, right? That's where they found their 3 first downs. We got Johnny Silva. Damon, make me laugh with Mark Davis jokes. Mailman Johnny from Brentwood listening every day, same time. Johnny, thank you. We love it. When we got the postman from Capitola. We got the mailman. We got Brentwood. Mailman Johnny. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you for listening every day. It means a lot, brother. Glad I can make you. I told my wife, who was working from home today, she just had Dreamforce last week, so she's taken a little, not a week off or anything like that, but after the Super Bowl, the franchise gets to, kind of mail in the next week. Jillian just had her yearly business Super Bowl. She's working from home today, and I just kissed her on the cheek at 10:55 to come downstairs to be with you. And I said, honey, I got to go entertain the smallest corner of the internet today. I'll be back in a little bit. She's like, but that small corner is lucky to have you. No, you know what? I'm lucky to have you guys. I really am. The small corner is not lucky to have me. I'm lucky to have my small corner assembling over here on YouTube almost daily. Thank you so much for being here. It is the wait, one more thing before we move on and out of the NFL into some other news that's happening today. In other defensive end news, the Eagles are getting Brandon Graham back. He was the longest tenured player in franchise history. He retired after missing most of last year, but finally working his way back to play and help win the Super Bowl. He's coming out of retirement on the heels of Zadarius Smith, who just decided to retire. He's 37 years old. Again, a torn triceps kept him out of most of last year. He returns, though. He plays the Super Bowl, and that was supposed to be his walk-off game. But he says, no, I'm coming back. I don't know how much left he's got in the tank, but the Eagles are happy to get that news. I mean, another defensive end just walking in off the street, helping save the day. That is what the 49ers are praying for right now. Have they got any retired defensive ends that can come help them? Can they seriously? Is there anyone who can just show up and play well for the 49ers this week who might have been retired? What's going here? What's happening, Damon? Hope you're doing well. Lighting one up for you. Oh, I thought you were complaining about the lighting for the show today. Oh, no, yeah, light one up. Spark it if you got it. Yeah, go get J.J. Watt. JJ, how would you like to come out of booth and play 10 games for the 49ers, maybe the playoffs? It's going to be a barn burner. D Ford. Yeah, D, come on out. Hey, basketball, come on out. Basketball, come on out. Steph Curry plays basketball tonight. I don't care how you are depressed about your defensive ends being hurt or Raider situation because you're a Raider fan watching here today. Hopefully you're also a Warriors fan. We got Warriors at the Lakers without LeBron. Got to like the Warriors' chances under those circumstances. So it's Curry versus Luka tonight. I'm in. It's Curry's 17th season. Does he make it to 20? Has he got 20? Is he going to try to pull more than Dirk? Full Durka, where he goes 23s. With Dirk, I believe, spent 22 seasons in Dallas. It's the longest any player ever spent with one team. Maybe that's Steph's bullseye that he's shooting at here in the end of his career, other than the bullseye of hitting as many threes as he can. The last time I saw this tweet, somebody today, I'm sorry, I did not credit who put this out there, but the last time the NBA had an opening night without LeBron James playing in the first game of that season, no matter who he was playing for, the Cavs, the Heat, the Lakers, the first time tonight in a long time that the NBA will open without an available LeBron. By the way, in case you want to know how old LeBron James is now, he's sciatica years old. I mean, LeBron James is now missing NBA games at the start of the year for the same reason that Morty couldn't make it to shuffleboard at Del Boca Vista. That is an old Jewish man's injury. Sciatica. Again, one of the reasons why I'm an honorary Jew myself is because I've had sciatica. And by the way, that shit hurts. You get a pinched sciatic nerve, the way that pain runs down your leg, into your hamstring, into your calf. Oh my fucking God, it hurts so bad. You're like, what is that? That's nerve damage. Well, shit, that's serious. Seriously, fucking sciatica. You know you've been in the league long when you're out due to sciatica. But you want to feel old? Here we go. This is how long LeBron James has been playing basketball. Are you ready? The last time the NBA had an opening night without LeBron James playing in the first game of that season, The Chappelle Show had yet to even make its debut. Pre-Chappelle Show. That's a long time ago. Facebook wasn't invented. Well, maybe look at it this way. Facebook might have been invented. That shit was not online yet. This girl named Kelly Clarkson had just won this show called American Idol. Have you ever used a USB flash drive? Not before LeBron James started playing, you did. There was no USB flash drive. They didn't even exist yet. That's how long it's been since LeBron has been participating in opening nights. Let me tell you what is my least favorite article, and this comes out every single NBA season. There's an NBA article that comes out every NBA season that says something to the effect like, enjoy it while you can, NBA, because the two biggest stars, the three biggest stars in your league are getting old. And there's truth to that. You know, the Curry, LeBron, Durant era probably has 2, 3, 4 years left in it. But I will say this. This is a very well-positioned league. And I'm not here for a single negative thing about the NBA. I'm not, man. I love the NBA. I love basketball. Absolutely basketball junkie over here. College basketball, NBA basketball. If there's a game on TV and it's tight and 8 minutes to play, yes. Yes. Even though 8 minutes of a fourth quarter in an NBA game takes 45 minutes of real time. Anyway, I mean, look at what this league has right now. You know, Curry, LeBron, Durant are obviously your top shelf liquor. But after that, Jokic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Giannis, Luka Doncic, Anthony Davis still hanging around. Like, there is an incredible amount of a talent that is established in this league, that is going to the Hall of Fame in this league right now, that is very, very special. And we have what I think is, that generational torch is about to be passed. we are going to go from a generation of superstar NBA players into the next one. And I just think the next one is really well positioned with Jalen Williams and Evan Mobley and Cade Cunningham. I love the young talent in the NBA right now. Cooper Flagg, I think he's going to have an awesome rookie year. Dallas is going to be a little interesting. Screw you, Nico, for trading Luka, but still, Dallas is going to be a little interesting for sure with Anthony Davis and Cooper Flagg. And, unfortunately for them, Kyrie is going to miss most of the year. But, Paolo Banchero down in Orlando, there is so much really legit young talent in this league. It is awesome. Now, somebody out there is going to say, nah, the NBA sucks. Like, it's going to happen. Somebody tomorrow is going to write the dumbest article in the world where they compare opening night Warrior-Laker ratings to Monday Night Football ratings. We're going to get the whole smorgasbord of you ain't football this week. The NBA is going to be told you ain't football in the ratings this week. The World Series, game 1 of the World Series is going to be told you don't matter. You don't get more ratings than freaking Bengals Titans. Yeah. We have a society that is full on man-to-man, woman and child, addicted to football. We are a football first, everything else second and third country. So when you're telling me that Major League Baseball and the NBA are second and third to football, you're basically telling me that you think that B and C is going to follow A. Really? Is that how you think it's going to go? So you're going to try to get an article highlighting the one thing that needs zero, comprehension attached to it. I don't need any interpretation of why the NFL gets better ratings than football or basketball. It's because it's more popular. Why does the pretty girl get hit on more than the less pretty girls? If I have to explain that to you, should you even be out tonight? The guy with the bigger, thicker wallet is getting more attention on the dating circuit than the dude who's poor. Really? Tell me more. God. I'm going to tell you right now, even if you think you got a point to make with your ratings are lower, interest is lower, I don't watch the NBA. It's too woke for me, or whatever your reason is. Here's the reason why you're wrong. There is a brand new $76 billion media deal on the table right now. No, excuse me, on the table is the wrong way to describe that. That shit is signed. There's $76 billion worth of broadcast business built around the league. You're telling me doesn't have any interest in it? No. It's got plenty of interest in it. I love the NBA. And here's the thing. I got to be honest with you. I don't care about ratings. I don't care about network or streaming platform status. I don't care about success or failure or viewership numbers. I like basketball. I loved last year's NBA Finals. I wish the Pacers had more of a punch in it, but, they lose Halliburton, and that's that. But, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, yeah, put that dude on national TV every single chance you get. I want to watch him. I'm in, totally in, even though he's a free throw merchant. I love hoops. I'm glad hoops is back tonight. We get to watch Steph Curry play basketball tonight. How great is that? Find me a better stocking stuffer in your sports calendar year than Steph Curry is going to hit some fucking threes for you tonight. That's awesome. I love that. I would, I'd love to see Draymond get suspended tonight. Let's just go right to midseason form. All right, what else we got? We're going to get to today in history in just a little bit, but I got to tell you, this is not sports, this is not politics, but this is business, man. And there's some business out there that just fucking rubbing me the wrong way. Companies need to stop treating employees like rows or columns in spreadsheets. Do you realize that we now have, along with Halloween season and Thanksgiving season and our seasonal holidays of Christmas and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa, we also have layoff season. I mean, it's a rite of now autumn passage. You know, the leaves turn orange. You grab a rake. You get dogs jumping into leaf piles. You get jack-o'-lanterns. And you get savage rounds of layoffs this time of year over and over and over again. And this isn't just media companies, but here's more example of media, as media is going through a, earthquake right now. iHeartMedia just had another massive round of layoffs, like it does every year, right around this time. You get to the end of your quarter, you get to the end of the business year, and end of year business just simply means that the numbers game begins, and layoffs look like instant declarable profit in the books. So you got soulless fucking number crunchers and accountants just saying, yeah, lay off 500 people. Doesn't matter who they are. It's going to make our bottom line look better, which is going to help the stock price at the end of the quarter, which means that's all that matters. Fuck everybody. Fiduciary responsibility will be the umbrella I hold under, why I'm screwing over so many people. Paramount, Skydance, this new monster megala media company, is about to lay off 2,000 people next week. Well, you're about to lay off 2,000 people. Everybody, the company must be in the most dire straits financially, with an amount of financial pressure all the way up to the top that just has this whole thing crumbling, right? So Paramount and Skydance is owned or run by David Ellison. David Ellison is the son of Larry Ellison. Larry Ellison owns Oracle. 3 days ago. So 2,000 people needed to be laid off because just 3 days ago there was a bump in Oracle's stock price, or I should say dip, not a bump. And just 3 days ago, Larry Ellison lost $24 billion in 1 day. Guess how he had to scrap by? With his remaining $351 billion. And all I'm going to tell you is, if you're laying off, if you haven't got the cash to cover the salary of 2,000 people, when you have $351 billion, I hope your private plane crashes into a fucking junkyard. No one needs $351 billion and just laying people off. You do realize that is $351,000 million. That's what a billion is. If you run a company, Jeffrey Bezos, that means you are a billionaire 100 times over, but you don't offer dental. Fuck you. The amount of shitting on the working class that isn't just like, it's built into the system now. It's literally built into the system to take hardworking people, snap them over your knee in the name of a stock price that at the end of this layoff. So here's the thing, I'm very layoff sensitive, having been laid off personally a couple years ago. And I'm just going to tell you right now that my layoff didn't affect Odyssey's bottom line a fraction of a decimal point or a comma. Retaining me would have been undetected in the bottom line. Just like laying me off was ultimately undetected in your bottom line. But it's amazing. It's amazing. I'm going to tell you right now, if I had $500 million, you would all be fucking rich. We would have flown this whole we'd do Plus Mania in fucking Hawaii. We'd all go together. I would pick it up. The hoarding of billions of dollars is just disgusting as people are having trouble buying eggs. It's why I'm officially now rooting for jewel thieves. I really am. Eat the rich, fuck the rich, steal from the rich. Seriously. Go rob the Louvre. If anybody can break in without a single violent act to the Museum of Modern Art in San Francisco and start pulling, Liechtensteins out of there, go for it. Go for it. Because they're robbing the shit out of us. The people who can afford fucking jewelry and paintings like that, they don't give a shit about us. That is obvious every single day. The World Series starts on Friday. The Dodgers are in it. How you doing, Bay Area? Game 1 of the World Series Friday at Rogers Center in Toronto. And look, unfortunately for you, Canada, we're sending the greatest living American, Shohei Ohtani, is coming after you. Shohei Ohtani, I believe Shohei Ohtani was born in Fresno. Greatest living American. Dodgers in 5 feels right, doesn't it? Dodgers in 5 feels right. Maybe Gausman gets one. Maybe Chris Bassett gets one. Dodgers in 5 feels pretty good to me. LA versus Toronto. I mean, not since Kendrick Lamar versus Drake have these two cities been at each other's throats quite like this. Worst NFL fan base? Eagles, possibly. Well, if you want to talk about these people are obnoxious, yeah, the Eagles fans might take the cake. But no, I'll tell you this, the loyalty, though. I mean, Eagles fans are kind of awesome. They really are. Here's the thing. Be who you are. If you're just the biggest group of assholes in sports, be the biggest group of assholes in sports. Do it. Be who you are. I don't have a problem with Phillies fans. Worst NFL fan base? I don't know. I don't even know who qualifies for that. Here's the thing. I like all fans. What's wrong with being a fan? I was born this way, right? Or maybe you learned it. I don't know. But I would say the worst fan base probably it's the Miami Dolphins, to be honest with you. South Florida sucks as a sports town. Philadelphia, you might not like those people, but as a sports town, it's awesome. It's awesome. It really is. It's probably a little too awesome, and that's the problem, right? Sips of the day are going down nicely. Anyways, Kendrick versus Drake. Dodgers versus Blue Jays. Dodgers in 5. Meanwhile, Seattle Mariners fans, I'm never even jumping on your bandwagon again. I tweeted this last night. I'm like, it wasn't even fun. Mariners up 2-0. I was so excited for them. I'm jumping on this Mariners bandwagon. They're going to go to Seattle. They're going to play two of the most insane baseball games ever played up there. They lay down and die in those two games. Then they finally salvage one. They get it back to Toronto. They force a game 7, only to lay down and die in heartbreaking fashion. Seattle Mariners, the only team in Major League Baseball that's never been to a World Series. The Tampa Bay Devil Rays, for fuck's sakes. The Colorado Rockies have been to a World Series. That's tough. You ready for a little history? By the way, we always start our Today in History with birthdays. I don't think we've ever had a day where my 4 birthdays of note have all been the same sex, men or women. Today, we got nothing but ladies celebrating birthdays, starting with Judge Judy Shineland. Come on down for your 83rd birthday, Judge Judy. There's a woman we can all admire. What a businesswoman. First of all, smart enough to be a lawyer, smart enough to become a judge, then smart enough to become one of the most successful syndicated paydays in television history. Judge Judy fucking crushed it. From a business standpoint, there's no denying her business acumen. But Kim Kardashian became famous because a C- rapper came all over her in a sex tape. Let's not forget that either. Happy birthday, 45th birthday to Kim Kardashian. Speaking of women who've gotten famous through the prism of cum alone, happy birthday to Amber Rose, 42 years old, the queen of the slut walk. I'll tell you, she's gorgeous, right? That's a beautiful woman until she got her forehead tattooed. But Amber Rose, famous because she lets guys come all over her. 42 years old today. Happy birthday. This woman just sold out Chase Center, I believe. Doja Cat is 30 years old today. So there are your 4 birthdays. Judge Judy, very respectable. Doja Cat, I got nothing bad to say. Kim Kardashian and Amber Rose, both beautiful, both famous, both more financially secure than I will ever be. But no one's ever come on me. So I feel good about that. It's never happened. Oh. Yeah, just tuned in. What's he saying? Jeb, you're going to have to rewind that just a little. Oh, hey, you know what? I appreciate this. At Floor Ticket, this day in 88, the Grateful Dead played Reunion Arena back in Dallas. This would have been the last time they played Texas. It would have been Brent Midland's 36th birthday. No, 36th birthday? You mean 63rd birthday? Brent died when I was in high school. Happy birthday, Brent. We would have mentioned that posthumous birthday had I known about it. I can say this about Brent. I don't think anyone ever came on him either. All right. Okay. Today, all the way back, October 21st, 1520. We're going way back. Ferdinand Magellan discovered the strait that now bears his name, the Strait of Magellan. What is that? Goes by Tierra del Fuego there, I think. I think Tierra del Fuego is where the Strait of Magellan passes. Anyways, he was able to circumnavigate the globe because he found a little, path through Central America there, South America. Whenever anybody, when you're riding shotgun, they take a wrong turn in the car or something. See, this happens less because everybody's following GPS now. But, I grew up in a world where you would get lost driving somewhere all the time because we didn't have GPS. There was no iPhone. And, since high school, When someone would take a left turn when they should have been a right, like one of my favorite go-tos was like, way to go, Magellan. I also like to use Copernicus when I'm making fun of directions. Nice job there, Copernicus. Historical, accurate explorer humor is something I think we're all striving for. Go with Copernicus or Magellan the next time somebody takes a left instead of a right. Maps. Yeah, freaking maps. Oh, no, Brent turned 36 back in 88 is what you meant there, floor ticket. Thank you. Come on, Eileen. Yeah, that's a very nice way to go about that. 1797. Regular Ryan also had told a really funny joke at the end of yesterday's show. I can't even remember what it was, Regular Ryan, but I put it up during the closing credits of the show. Always good to see you in here, man. Okay. Today in 1797, the 44-gun United States Navy frigate USS Constitution was launched in Boston Harbor. It was the third such vessel. 44 guns, though, baby. Let's go. You're not messing with the Constitution in 1797. Today in 1805, speaking of navies, today in 1805, one of the single biggest naval battles ever happened. I love naval history. I love military history, old battles and shit like that. I do. Today in 1805, a fleet of 33 ships, 18 French ships, and 15 Spanish ships. And by the way, the admiral was the French admiral, has the most French name of all time. Admiral Pierre Charles Jean Baptiste Silvestri. De Villeneuve. How about Pierre Charles Jean Baptiste Silvestre de Villeneuve? Admiral. He went up against Admiral Horatio Nelson. This was the Battle of Trafalgar, just off Cape Trafalgar of Spain. And, you know, like you watch the old Bugs Bunny cartoons where he's like, Mr. Kirsten and Horatio, like it's all from that. Today in 1854, speaking of, you know, historical battle shit, Florence Nightingale and a staff of 38 nurses were sent to the Crimean War. She was helping wounded soldiers at Constantinople, and she significantly reduced death rates of the injured by improving hygiene and living standards. And this is where Florence Nightingale gave birth to modern nursing as we know it. There's a reason why Florence Nightingale's name went down in history, because she was known as someone who was a tireless worker. She was up at all night long, taking care of these wounded soldiers, and she became known as the Lady of the Lamp, because she would walk around with a lantern, helping all these wounded soldiers. She became an icon of Victorian culture, and Florence Nightingale is still, to this day, your go-to nurse nickname. So, way to go, Florence. By the way, in 1921 today, October 21st, 1921, then President Warren G. Harding delivered the very first speech by a sitting U.S. president against lynching in the Deep South. I'm sure today he would be called woke and run out of the Republican Party. Let's see. What else we got? Today in 1959, there's a reason why Frank Lloyd Wright is basically the only most famous architect of all time, right? You name me an architect. If you can, it's usually Frank Lloyd Wright. Well, today, the Guggenheim, which he designed, opened in New York City. Speaking of opening, today in 1964, the American musical classic, I think it won 8 Academy Awards. It did 8 Academy Awards. What is it? The Cockney accent. My Fair Lady, Rex Harrison, Audrey Hepburn. It was a big deal. If you know somebody's into musicals, this is the rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain, shit like that. Speaking of music, today in 1995, Blind Melon's Shannon Hoon died of a cocaine overdose. I was in college when that happened. He was from West Lafayette, Indiana, I believe. And so it was a big deal in Indiana, even though he was, from the Purdue side of the tracks, that Shannon Hoon died. And all I can tell you is that Blind Melon was having its moment, like right when he died. It was like, what's his name from Sublime? Like, oh, congratulations, your band finally breaks. And you have an overdose and die. Do you remember that? First of all, the No Rain is still a great song. That opening guitar lick comes in. I remember the chubby little girl in the bee outfit was the video. Chef A wants you to know Audrey Hepburn, exquisite. Indeed. Like all the way to the very end, Audrey Hepburn was a beautiful woman her entire life. We end Today in History with two things you need to know about. How about some fictional this date in history? Today, October 21st, 2015, is the day that Marty McFly and Doc Brown traveled to from 1985 into the future to steal the almanac, the sports almanac from Biff. This is Back to the Future 2. Back to the Future 2. Today is the day that Marty traveled to steal the almanac. So happy birthday to that important date in Back to the Future 2. And I'll leave you with this. It is National Reptile Awareness Day. Now, I have a 4-year-old, and I am more aware of reptiles in the world now than ever before. Ozzy can sit around talking about lizards and alligators all day. He loves it. So I am aware of reptiles. How's your reptile awareness? It's hopefully a little bit better now that I've told you about it. So happy National Reptile Awareness Day. Who really brought that about, right? Who was the one person to stand up and just say, I'm worried about reptile awareness? Can we dedicate a day to reptile awareness? It's a strange world. May you live in interesting times. Sports don't build character. They reveal it. And like that, he's